Hi, welcome. In this session, we will be discussing about UI designing for Android applications. So, in our current project, we have to build a new UI design, and the UI design would look somewhat like this. So, this UI design I would like to show you will be a design for asking a question on an application. So, let's say when a user clicks on a question, he is going to get an activity somewhat like this, where he will have the option for the question along with the image view, and there will be a section where he can add a photograph, a video, or an audio file. So let's see how we are going to design a UI somewhat like that. So it's going to be a very easy process. So whenever we see a user interface, we can see we are going to have a couple of sections here. Let me just mark that for you. So initially we have the first section, then we have the second section where we do have our text, edit text available, as well as we have our maybe there would be another section where some image view would be available depending on the type of image which is selected from the gallery, as well as we have some controls for users to interact with the question, which means we can add in a photograph or else a video or an audio. But currently in our case, we just need to add a photograph. So we are going to make a user interface somewhat like that. Okay. So let's just quickly clear that. And in order to get started, I would like to take a screenshot of this image. Once I've taken the screenshot, let's say required design. We are going to have required design.jpg, and now we are done. So we have got the reference design. Let's say we can do one more thing. In order to quickly see, once the photograph has been added, we're going to have an option like take a photograph or select from a gallery. Let's say if I click on take a photograph, and if I make a click somewhat like this, let's say, let's have a click like this. So here we are going to have an image. Once I click on OK, so that is going to be added. Okay, so you will be having an image view also in the design. So let us just add the image view also, take a screenshot, and let's say UI design 1, and I have saved that on desktop. So this is going to be our reference design. Now we have reached out to Sketch. You can also use Adobe XD to get started with designing of an application like this. So I'm going to use option A. Using option A, we can select the device for which we want to make a design. I've selected an Android device with 360 width and 640 height, and the layout is added over here. So I'm going to quickly drag it at the top here, where I would like to start the designing process. Here you can see that here I'm going to have my design, followed by, I would also like to have the reference design copied here. So we can go to recent. Under the recent, okay, we will be having in the desktop. On the desktop, we have the UI design. You can copy the UI design and you can paste your UI design here. Now, once you paste your UI design, it could be possible that it would be big. It would be of a little big size, so you can quickly arrange it with respect to your requirements. And here, so we have got the screenshot available over here. Let's just fill in the screenshot here. Keep it centered, make the width to 360 so that it fits the user interface. And for height, let's say we'll select the Android and we'll go up to the height of the control. Okay, somewhat like this. So this is what we will be designing. Now we can quickly adjust it to the size so that we can see what all needs to be done. Now initially we want to skip the part of the battery and the icon symbol because that won't be required, and we're going to fill it somewhat like this. Let's say, let's just add it to the top here, and we are going to put the Android here so that it fits. Now we have to get started with the design process. In order to get started with the design process, let's see how we're going to do that. So under our Android, let's change it to ask question activity. Okay, this is going to be our ask question activity. Over this ask question activity, I would like to design certain rectangles in order to quickly see the shape, what all has to be done. So here is my first rectangle, which I'm going to design. Okay, and I would like to keep it below the interface so that my area would be selected and I would be able to make the markers over my design image, and then I'm going to arrange it accordingly. So within this rectangle, we will be having three more rectangles. The first rectangle will be to cover this image. Okay. Second rectangle would be, I think, the profile page. Let's take one more rectangle. We are going to define the profile image. Okay. Third, we're going to have another rectangle, which is going to have your label name, label information. Let's say we'll keep it to 190. And then we will be having a final fourth rectangle, which will have your button control. Okay. So we can have the width as 80 or 55 like that. So now you have four rectangles here. One, the big rectangle. We'll quickly check the height. So it's 360, 55. That's 55, again 55, 55, and 55. So all the height is appropriately designed, and we have got four specific sections here. Then we are going to have the next rectangular section. Let's just take another rectangle, and this rectangle is going to define your text view element. Okay, so we can put it here. This is going to be the second element where you are going to have your text view. So I think that's your second rectangle. Okay, and instead, let's just put the others in the group so that it's clear. All these four rectangles will be in a group. So I'm going to quickly add it to the group selection. Okay, this is going to be, let's say, view group part 1. Okay, then we have the another rectangle. Within this rectangle, again, we are going to have type a question feature, the edit text feature, which would be wrap content. So I'm going to define, you can have a rectangle again, and within that rectangle, we can have the rectangle here where we can define our question, let's say. Okay, so we have one rectangle. Within that, we have another rectangle wherein we are going to type in the question. Okay, we're going to convert that rectangle, the inside rectangle, into an edit text. So let's just group the selection, call it as view group part 2, or let's say view group 2, and we're going to call it as view group 1. So we got view group 1, we got view group 2. Now there will be another section. So let's have a third section, which we are going to define here. So from here, we are going to start designing, and let's put the image views here, 360 cross 228. Okay, within this, you will be having your image view. So that's a third rectangle. Use a U. U will be your rectangle with rounded corners. Okay, so we can have a image over here. Let's just put it a little close. Okay, and make the rounded from 8 to, let's say, 12. Okay, so now you can see that the rectangle is exactly fitting the image view. So we have got these two. Let us just quickly group it again, group selection. This is going to be your view group 3, over which you will be having your image view. Okay, this can be extended up to the downward area. Okay, moreover, we can have the top section. Okay, so we need to, you can have like this. We can have the background set with white color, maybe. Let's have another section. We're going to have another fourth section. This fourth section will be from here, where we are going to have our image content. Okay, let's just keep it here, 360/97. This is going to be the fourth section. Now within this fourth section, we will be having an image button, let's say. Let's make one more rectangle, and I'm going to add this rectangle over here. Okay, so this should fit the lines, and I'm going to have the center button here. So that's how I have removed the image out now. And now you can see that we have actually got the structure made for this application. One more thing we could have done, we could have extended the content so as to fit the design, but not an issue because the background is already black, so that won't be a big issue for us. So now we have to add on the specific content here. So we have three, then we have this, let's group it together, group selection. This is going to be your view group 4, okay. We have view group 1, we have view group 2, view group 3, and view group 4. So we got the 4 view groups. Now what we have to do, we have to add the black arrow here in the view group 1, okay. So we'll go and select the appropriate rectangle where we want to keep it. You can get this icon from material icons, and I believe I would be having my material icons already saved here because I do have a collection of all the material icons which I need to use for my application. So I'll actually refer it from here. I think I have it here, yes, okay. So what I'll do, I'll just quickly refer to this image, black icon white, okay. I'm going to make a duplicate of that black icon white, and I'm going to copy that icon here. I can actually put it here, okay. One more thing which we have to do is we quickly have to see where this black icon is available. Now it's in the ask question, and I would like to make it group with this rectangle. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to select the black icon using command click, and I'm going to group the selection. Once I group this selection, if I select this option, I can actually align it at the center of that particular box, okay, so that it's arranged well. Now, my section would be blue in color, let's say. The top section would be blue in color, so I would like to quickly get the color from here. So let's say this is going to be my color. I'm going to copy that. And for this particular section, if I am here in view group 1, okay, so I have a rectangle. I'm going to put the background color to dark blue, and I would like to put the border colors also to the same, okay. And other elements, I would like to keep it transparent. So let's say when it comes to the color, it's going to be 0% opacity, okay. And this border color is also going to be alpha, is going to be 0% opacity. So that's transparent. Followed by, I have a second section rectangle. Let us just quickly put the opacity to 0% and put the border opacity to 0%. Okay. Then we have the third section, third rectangle, put the opacity to 0% and put the opacity to 0% of the border. And then you have the final fourth section, and you can put in the opacity again, 0% and 0%. Okay. So now you guys can see we have got 4 different sections with the blue background. Okay. So we got the view group 1 set. Now within each section, we would be adding our specific information. So now we have the second one where we would like to add a profile photo. So let's make use of an oval by pressing O option. Okay, use shift, create an oval. Let's have 30 cross 30. We want to use that. Okay, so this is our rectangle number 2, and I would like to have both of them in a group. So let's just group the selection. Under group number 2, select the oval and try to fit the oval within the box itself. Okay, and you can actually set an image here. So as to keep it as an image view, we are going to add this as an image view. And for the borders, let's just keep it 0. There is no border set. For this image, we can actually call fit, so as to fit it accordingly. If you want, we can set the borders, but I don't believe that would be required, I think. Okay. So let's say if that is 30, we can increase it to a little more size, let's say 36. Okay, so that it looks a little big, and we can actually arrange that so as to fit the center. So we got the image somewhat like this. You can see that. This is how we are going to show our image view. Okay. If we want to actually set the background, so that's a transparent image. In case if somebody has inserted a filled image like with a background, then it can be displayed. Okay. So we have got the second section ready. So let's say this is the group 2 oval, and we're done with that. Third, we have two text views. One is the username, and second is posting in with specific category. Okay. So now under this, I'm going to define two text views. Let's say first we are going to have the username that would be white in color. Okay. That's going to be the first text view. Followed by, we'll have another text view. Let us just define it over here, and this will be, let's say, posting in English, let's say. Okay, like that. So I would like to use these two. Now we are going to set the font. So in order to quickly check the font size and all, so we're going to make use of, let's say, Roboto. Roboto is the main font which we have been using. You can keep it bold, that is fine. Okay. Second, we can select our next one, Roboto, and we can keep it regular. Let's say it can be 12, followed by regular. Okay. So let's just select both of them, and we're going to put it somewhere at the center of the rectangle. Okay. So let's make a group. We have made a group selection, and for them also, let's make a group selection. The group selections are always useful in arranging the content to keep it at an appropriate place. Okay, so let's say I'm at the group. Okay, let us just select the group, and I would like to actually set the group. Let's say this is 190 of 55 and the X is 89. And for this particular group, 89, let's say we'll keep it 100. Okay, so that it is arranged well. Now, once I select that, we're going to fill in the width up to this. So let's say the group 3 is up to 89 and the width is 191. So width is 191. Rectangle is also 190, let's say. Posting in English and username, that's 180. Okay, let's keep it 170, something like that. Use English, also keep it 170, so that you can make use of the, in case if the text size changes. Then we are going to have the button control here. So for the button control, again, we would like to use something like a gradient along with the next button. So we can use U. We can design a button. Okay. In order to go and click on next, that's the rectangle. Let's make a group. So we got a group selection here. Okay. Now within the group selection, we're going to select the rectangle and we are going to arrange it at the center. Let's change the rounded size to a little less. Let's call it as 4, maybe. 4 is fine. If we want, we can increase the size, or else with respect to our app, we can actually adjust how do we want it to look. Okay. We can, let's say, make it 30. 30 may look a little big. So we can arrange it accordingly, however we want it to look like. Okay. And this button again is going to be, let's say, we can set the gradient, or else we can actually make use of white button. That could also work. Okay. So we'll quickly see what kind of buttons we have actually used here. So we have generally used the blue background with the white icon at the top. Okay, so what we'll do, let us just quickly make use of white, okay, and with a black text, something like that we can do. So let's see. So let us just fill the color to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the border color also to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we do have the border color. Okay, and we can put in the text. Let's say I would like to fill in the text as NEXT. Select that, fill the color to black, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we got the color here, robo to regular. So now that's our button. We are going to group the button together. Okay, and this will actually contain the specific fifth group. So now we have got these 4 groups created for the first section. So you can see that how generally we make use of top level designs by selecting the rectangle and defining each and every stuff so that everything gets aligned. Okay. Next, let's go to the next stuff. Now this is going to be white in color. The background view group 2 is going to be white in color. So let's select the background. Go to the back of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then go to the borders. Use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we got the borders as white. Again, we can use the second borders as white as well, just to give the actual depiction of the text that it's written over here in the question segment itself. So we can go here, select this content as again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the border could again be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we got that content clear. So we already have that in a group. So I'm not writing any text content here because that we can actually define in the Supernova Studio itself. That would be more helpful. Okay. Then we'll go to the third view group. Now again in the third view group, you're going to set the background as white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Let's set the border colors also white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we have the image view. Within the image view, we have to fill in some information. Okay. So let's say I'm going to fill in the screenshot information maybe, or any image you can fill in actually, depending on your choice. So let's me just quickly check if I have any image available over here, which could be a little relevant for, let's say, suppose this is going to be the question text, I think. So for question text, let's say we can use a question kind of image, which is already available in our here in the data itself. We already may be having a question image. Okay. So here there is a question image we can use, or else we can also make use of the score kind of image. Any image would work, in fact. Okay. So I've got this. Let's call it fit, or else we can stretch. We can fill the image so that it looks filled. The fill is fine. Let's fill the complete size so that the bounds gets adjusted. And as well as for the border, again, we can actually keep it white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So now you're going to have the specific image along with the rounded corners. Okay. Now, so we got this section built again. And finally, we have the fourth section. This is our fourth section where we actually have to use a camera as well as the text view. Okay. So under the view group 4, we have one rectangle, we have another rectangle. Within this rectangle, I actually would like to use a camera image. Okay. So in order to add a camera image, let's just add an oval. Like to add an oval here. Okay. So I'll keep that oval at the center here. Let's say it looks a little big to me. So let's say I'm going to use 60 cross 60. And just below that, I would like to use a text view here. Okay, and this text view will be, let's say, add a photo. Okay, we can add a photo. Let's just select it, keep it at the center. Or else what we can do is we can just fill this into view group 4 itself so that it gets aligned actually with respect to the items. Okay, now, so we can select that. We can select both of them, and now we can actually set them accordingly. Where do you want that to be visible? Now we have got this rectangle, oval, and a photograph, so we can add all three into a group. Let's make it a group selection. Okay, so that this can become a button actually. So we have got a photograph, we have got an oval, we have got a rectangle. Under the oval, I would like to add the image. So I'll go to color, I'll go to the image, I'm going to select that, and I'm going to add in the image of the camera. So the camera has been added, and I would like to keep this section as black itself because the background we will be having white. Okay. Now for this one, let us just keep it white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And the borders also, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Borders are also white. And this rectangle is going to be transparent. Okay. So at the bottom, we will be having add a photograph, and there will be an option to add the text, add an image view, and a photograph. Okay. So somewhat like this, we have got the design ready for ask question. Okay. I think this looks fine to all of you. Now under the add a photograph, let us just quickly set the size for this a little. Let's put 90. Okay. So that it doesn't get shrink. Or else what I can do is I can actually see the size of this. So it's 126. Yeah, 90 is fine. It's actually within the block itself. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to remove the border of the oval. So now it looks good to me. Okay. So that's how the design is going to look. So here is the random design which we have actually made as of now for ask question. Now we have to convert that into activity and the design. So for that, we're going to make use of Supernova Studio. So in the Supernova Studio, I'm going to add in new activities. So here are my existing activities. Now I would like to add a new activity. So I'm going to click on preview option, select my sketch tab. Under my sketch app, I have to select ask question. As soon as it loads up, we'll have ask question. We're going to merge ask question with the project. So here at the end, we have got ask question loaded. Now once we click here on ask question, you can see that we have got the design loaded. Okay. Now what we have to do? So let us just quickly identify all your view groups, view group 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are here in the view group 1. Under view group 1, we have 4 groups. Okay. So let's go to first group. Now this first group has a button. So we want to make this particular as a button. So we are going to convert this component to button control. Okay. So now you can see that it's clickable and it looks pretty good. Then the second one is an image view oval. Okay. So we can actually keep it at the center. Okay. Let's remove it. Go to group number 3. Or else there could be one thing which we guys can do. You can go to the first section, the first element. Let us just set the constraints accordingly. Go to group number 2, select its constraints as well so that all of them are connected with each other. Put it with 3 as well. Okay, and go to the fourth one, make it connected with the left hand side also. Okay. Don't keep it at the center, don't keep it at the right. Okay. Keep it at the center, keep it from the left, or else you can keep it from the right and you can remove this left one. Okay. So that's how you're going to get. Just remove this, that won't be required. And you can actually exceed the width to, let's say, 40 so that it doesn't go to the next line. Okay. So now here you can see, so we have got this set, we have got the image set, we have got the username here. Remove the constant from here, and from 64, let's make it to 90. Go to post in English, remove that, remove it from the bottom, extend it to, let's say, 90 to 190, something like that, or 180 maybe, 170 maybe. 170 is a good number. Let's go to username, make it 170. Okay, so now this is saved. Then we'll go to the button section. They both are actually in a group. Okay, so we do have the next button. So this next button is a group. We can remove the constant from the right hand side. Okay, and let's convert that component onto our button. So once I convert that onto a button, it becomes a button. These are the text views, and this is again a button to go back. So we got the view group 1 set. We'll go to view group 2. Within view group 2, we do have a rectangle. Okay, so we'll go to the rectangle. Let's just fit it to the center. Okay, and here on fitting it to the center, or else we can actually set the constant layout from the right to the left. Okay, and we're going to convert this component onto an edit text. Convert the component to edit text. Once we convert that to edit text, it's going to be a single line edit text, let's say, or else we can call it as a multi-line edit text. In the placeholder, we can say, write your question here. Okay, so you can see that you're going to get that, write your question here. Then we're going to change the font to Roboto. Okay, so I've selected the font as Roboto 12, maybe. Roboto 12 looks fine. And we are going to add some padding here. So the border color is white, background color is white. That is actually fine for us. We do have the corner radius and all that stuff. The top inset will be from 10. The bottom inset will also be from 10. Left inset will also be 10. And right inset will also be 10. So now we are going to get the question somewhat like this. Hi, my question is to add the scorecard, for example. So I've just specified the content here. Okay. So this is how we're going to get our text content, followed by, then we are going to have our view group 3, which is going to be an image view. And under this, we do have an image view. Okay. So that's going to be an aspect fill, scale to fill, aspect fit, and center. Okay. Scale to fill, aspect fit, Aspect fill, scale to fill. No, I think aspect fill would be the better option. Okay, so we're going to use it. That's already an image view. And finally, we have the fourth element that is going to be a button control. So I'm going to right click, convert this component to button control. So now this becomes a button, add a photograph. Okay. Now once we do add this add a photograph button, now what you can do is you need to actually check the constraints of the button control. Okay. So the view group constraint is set at the bottom, and that's pretty fine. Then again, we have the group button, which will be available over here. Now, so that's how we can actually design the questions layout. Okay. So once we click on the question, this activity is going to be loaded. We are going to have the question image. We are going to have the image view. By default, it is going to have no image. And once we click on add a photograph, then we are going to get add the photo and add the camera option. And the question is going to be loaded. Okay. So I believe this looks good to you. Now we can quickly save it, Command S, and we are going to export this layout. So we go here, we're going to export it to Android. We're going to export anyway. We're going to export the files. And for files, we're going to deselect all, and I just have to add my ask question activity. Here, I'll go to my ask question. And all my options like Gagan Pratap app, GP app, SDK, everything is set. Okay, so I'm going to export it. So once I export it, I would like to export it under Doubts app project. So I'll just quickly export it. And now my export has been done with the name Gagan Pratap app 14. So I have the resources and I have the source files which has to be updated. So this is how you can actually export it. And now this has to be added to the project. Okay. Thank you so much for watching.